Most liked comment gets pinned. Good luck.
Here he said, the crazy part is that no matter what the WNBA does with salaries, every star college player will take a pay cut.
$460 million. That's the price tag hanging over the WNBA right now if ownership gives in to the players' latest demands. That's not pocket change. That's a financial earthquake waiting to hit. At this moment, the league is staring straight into a brutal showdown that could wipe out the entire 2026 season. Superstar players are dropping public ultimatums. Team owners are hinting at locking the doors. And in the background, a brand new rival league is lurking, ready to snatch up top talent the second things fall apart.
According to a person with knowledge of the situation, the players' union proposal would allegedly result in projected losses of $460 million over the life.
This isn't just business. It's a high-stakes power play. But here's the part nobody on mainstream sports TV wants to say out loud. The players are pushing hard for a huge slice of a revenue pie that exploded because of one single rookie. That's the uncomfortable math sitting at the center of this storm. Before we even get into the numbers behind a possible lockout, listen to the tone coming from the top of the Players Association. Somebody is going to have to fold. That's what was said. Not a soft negotiation tactic. Not a friendly back and forth.
Calling out the WNBA owners to a standoff for these CBA negotiations. She's basically saying, hey, somebody's going to have to fold and it ain't going to be us. This is the nasty rhetoric.
That sounds like a line drawn in the sand. In today's sports world, press releases mean nothing. The real story is always buried in the money trail. So what's actually tearing this league apart? It's a financial structure that suddenly shifted, a new league with big ambitions, and billionaire Mark Cuban stepping in to spotlight a reality nobody can ignore. He's pointing at the numbers and asking the hard questions. Can women's pro basketball level up from this moment, or is it about to crack under pressure? To understand how things got this intense, we need to look at the spark that lit the fire. Napheesa Collier, five-time All-Star.
According to a person with knowledge of the situation, the players' union proposal would allegedly result in projected losses of $460 million over the lifetime of that agreement for WNBA teams. And you remember, it was at a $700 million loss for the 30%.
Minnesota Lynx standout, vice president of the WNBA Players Association. During a recent interview promoting a partnership with Icy Hot, she ditched the usual safe, polished answers. She didn't sugarcoat it. She made it clear. Someone is going to have to fold, and she made it sound like it won't be the players. That's bold. That's direct. That's pressure. But here's where it gets complicated. Collier isn't just a player speaking up for her peers. She's also the co-founder of Unrivaled, a brand new, heavily funded 3-on-3 women's basketball league. The idea? Keep players in the United States during the offseason and pay them serious money instead of heading overseas. On paper, that sounds smart. But in the middle of tense labor talks, that raises eyebrows. Think about it.
All trying to eat out of Caitlin Clark's pie. Let's be real here. Caitlin Clark served this dish up on a platter for you guys like it was Thanksgiving, and all y'all doing is messing up the food at this point. Y'all messing up the food.
A vice president of the WNBA Players Association is also running a league that could directly benefit if the WNBA stumbles. Financial analysts are already whispering the tough question. Is the goal to finalize a new agreement? Or is there a quiet advantage if talks break down? If the 2026 season gets delayed or canceled, Unrivaled suddenly becomes the hottest ticket in town. Media coverage shifts. Corporate sponsors look for somewhere to park their money. Players needing income start looking for options. And just like that, a competitor gets a massive spotlight boost. This isn't about personal attacks. It's about incentives, timing, and leverage. When you mix labor negotiations, rising star power, and a rival league waiting in the wings, things get messy fast. And right now, the WNBA isn't just negotiating contracts. It's fighting for control of its future. It's a ruthless, brilliant chess move. But for the WNBA's long-term legacy, It's a ticking time bomb ready to explode. So what exactly are the players asking for that has owners quietly preparing for a shutdown? The numbers are jaw-dropping, and they expose a serious gap between how players value the league and what the financial statements actually show. On Tuesday, the Players Association fired back with a counter-proposal to the league's February 7th offer. Their demand? 25% of the league's gross revenue in year one, climbing to about 27.5% over the life of the deal. And that's not all. They're also pushing for a salary cap close to $9.5 million, plus continued housing support for players early in their careers. Now, if you're thinking about the NBA or NFL, 25% sounds small. Those leagues often split revenue close to 50-50. But here's the hard truth. This isn't the NBA. The WNBA has operated at a loss for years. For decades, it's been backed financially just to stay afloat. That's not an opinion. That's the history of the books. The players see the surge, packed arenas, booming TV ratings, merch flying off shelves. And they want their share now. Back in December, they asked for 30%. Dropping to 25%? In their eyes, that's a serious concession. From their perspective, they're meeting in the middle. But ownership isn't staring at social media buzz. They're staring at operating expenses, arena leases, staff salaries, travel upgrades, marketing budgets, insurance, game day costs. When they plug the union's proposal into the spreadsheet, the result is brutal. If this deal gets signed as proposed, projections show around $460 million in losses over the agreement's life. That's nearly $500 million in red ink. No business can survive bleeding that kind of money year after year just to settle a negotiation. Owners countered with something very different. They offered players more than 70% of league and team net value. Net value means actual profits. The money left after bills are paid. But the union rejected it fast. Why? Because profits are thin. In some markets, they barely exist. A percentage of profit in a low-margin system doesn't move the needle much. What the players want is gross revenue. That's the top-line number before expenses get sliced out. Before arena fees. Before staff payroll. Before marketing campaigns. Before the new charter travel costs. Gross is the big pie on the table. And this brings us to the real heart of the debate. Why has gross revenue suddenly jumped so high that players are willing to risk a shutdown to secure a piece of it right now? 2 words. Caitlin Clark. Before Clark stepped onto the pro stage, the league had markets struggling to fill seats. Then everything shifted. Arenas started selling out across the country. Networks reshuffled schedules to put games in prime slots. Jersey sales surged. National attention skyrocketed. Clark didn't just boost highlights, she boosted economics. She pulled in millions of new viewers, new sponsors, new energy. The revenue spike is real. The spotlight is brighter than ever. And now the fight is about who gets what share of that sudden wave of money. The Players Association is basically trying to cash in on the Caitlin Clark boom to lock in long-term multi-million-dollar guarantees for the entire league. It's like a small-town theater landing a Hollywood superstar for one weekend show. Then the whole crew demanding a 400% raise because ticket sales spiked that month. The buzz is real. But is it permanent? Yes, the revenue pie is bigger right now. No one can deny that. But ownership groups are seasoned business minds. They're not rushing to chain themselves to $500 million in guaranteed losses based on one explosive season powered by a once-in-a-generation talent. They want proof this growth can last 3 to 5 years before they start unlocking the vault. And that's where the deadlock hits hard. Players want bigger checks immediately. Owners say the league can't afford it without sinking. It's a financial tug-of-war with no easy middle ground. So how do you fix a shaky business model? You bring in someone who's built billion-dollar systems before. Enter Mark Cuban. The former majority owner of the Dallas Mavericks looked at the WNBA structure, listened to the complaints, and zeroed in on a painful truth. Every star college player takes a pay cut to join the WNBA. Think about that. The Pro League pays less than the top college athletes are making right now. Cuban pointed out that elite players in major college conferences are earning anywhere from $500,000 to over $1 million a year through name, image, and likeness deals. In college, housing is covered, meals are covered, travel is elite. Big-time programs treat top athletes like VIPs, supported by powerful alumni networks and corporate donors. Then graduation hits, and reality shifts fast. A rookie steps into the WNBA, and suddenly the financial support drops. Why? Because WNBA teams don't have massive local TV contracts. They don't have billion-dollar media deals. They don't have the same ticket margins as NBA franchises. Writing million-dollar checks straight from team operating budgets just isn't realistic in most markets. The math doesn't bend just because emotions are high. Cuban didn't just highlight the problem, he floated a bold solution. Instead of forcing the league to stretch its core revenue beyond its limits, why not borrow the college NIL blueprint? Right now, in the NBA, teams can't tell a sponsor, hey, pay our star an extra $5 million so we don't hit the salary cap. That's considered salary cap circumvention, and it's against league rules. The system is strict for a reason. But Cuban's argument? The WNBA should rethink that model entirely. He believes the league should allow structured third-party sponsorship payments. Legal, transparent, and capped based on experience. Let franchises work with major local corporations to create endorsement-style income streams that sit outside the traditional salary cap. Instead of draining team revenue, outside sponsor money could boost player earnings. In simple terms, don't force teams to pay what they don't have. Let outside brands step in and bridge the gap. Build a system where base salaries stay manageable. But stars still get paid through market-driven partnerships. It's a controversial idea. It would reshape the rules. But in a standoff, this intense, bold thinking might be the only way out. If a team in Indiana wants to boost player pay, the idea is simple. Go to a local tech giant or a major agriculture company and build a sponsorship deal where that company pays the player directly. The team helps structure it. The sponsor writes the check, and the owner isn't stuck covering the full bill from league revenue. Clean, direct, powerful. That setup would shift the weight off WNBA ownership while still getting players the numbers they're fighting for. No draining the league's operating budget. No stacking guaranteed losses. Just outside money stepping in to fund star power. Of course, critics fired back fast. They argue this would wreck competitive balance. Big markets like New York or Los Angeles could tap into massive corporate networks, while smaller markets might struggle to compete. More sponsors, bigger checks, stronger roster. That's the fear. But Cuban already anticipated that pushback. His counter? Revenue sharing. Under this model, a percentage of all corporate NIL-style sponsorship money would go into a central league pool. That pool then gets distributed across teams. It's not a wild concept. It's been done before. When NBA teams started selling jersey patch ads, they realized the true value wasn't just local exposure in the arena. It was national TV games. Playoff runs, viral highlights exploding across social media. So that revenue gets shared. The WNBA could mirror that system with player sponsorships. Big markets generate more deals, but a slice gets redistributed to protect smaller franchises. That keeps the competition tight while still opening the floodgates to outside cash. Cuban's core message is bold. Stop fighting over a limited revenue stream. Expand it. Rewrite the financial playbook. Let corporate America fund the salary surge instead of squeezing a still growing league. But here's the catch. None of this works unless the collective bargaining agreement allows it. Until the rules change, both sides are stuck in a grinding stalemate. And time is not on their side. The regular season is set for May 8th. Before that, the league has a mountain of chaos to manage. Expansion drafts for new teams in Toronto and Portland. Free agency moves, the 2026 draft. Scheduling, sponsorship rollouts, media planning. Every single piece depends on labor peace. If players are openly warning about walking out, as Collier signaled, that stability vanishes. The players say they want to compete. They say this is their career and their passion. That may be true. But public ultimatums can push fans away just as fast as they energize them. You can't go on national platforms, challenge ownership to fold, demand a bigger slice immediately, and expect every working-class fan to automatically side with a shutdown. Fans don't study cap tables. They just want games on the screen. If the union holds firm and ownership refuses to absorb a projected $460 million loss, a lockout becomes real. And here's the brutal irony. By pushing hard for what they believe they deserve today, players could damage the very spotlight that just elevated the league to new heights. Millions of new fans recently tuned in because of the Caitlin Clark surge. Casual viewers, young fans, families. If games disappear, those fans have options. NBA, college hoops, other sports. Attention moves fast. History shows building a sports empire takes time. The NBA spent decades stabilizing its finances before mega contracts became normal. The WNBA just tasted its first major wave of sustained mainstream momentum, and immediately the financial battle exploded. You can't demand a billion-dollar ecosystem into existence overnight. The revenue has to be steady. The model has to hold. Right now, the numbers and the negotiations are moving in opposite directions. So what's your take? Is the Players Association moving too fast? Trying to lock in gains from a short-term spike? Or are owners playing defense, protecting their books and refusing to open them fully? Is this smart leverage or risky timing? Sound off with your breakdown. If you want real talk on the business side of sports, tap subscribe. Hit like and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next.